Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to Forge App Jam number 5. Can you believe it? We are already at our 5th Forge App Jam, and today we're even going to be starting a completely new project. I'm so excited to have y'all here today.
Same. Yeah, super exciting. Yeah, number 5. I'm still keeping the numbers in the titles of the events, so I can't forget that this is number 5. So maybe at some point we'll drop them like the numbers. Let's see. Not the events. Like we are not dropping the events.
Yes, no, have to keep these going.
Yeah, and
hello everyone that is popping up in the chat to come hang out with us. This is so good. I'm so excited. This is my favorite Tuesday evening activity. Tuesday evening for me, Wednesday morning for you.
Yeah, we also changed the date. That's right. So now we are on my Wednesday. As I don't think you can read it. It's very small, but it's up there. It's Wednesday for me. So yeah, I hope this day still works for everyone, as we might keep going with this one. And so hi everyone who's saying hi to us. Also, I wanted to say, like today, I think I've got everything set up. So lights are on, my audio is working, my camera is on, and I'm not playing like this event like in any other windows like it happened last time where it was like I need to stop it. So I think we're good. I think we can get started.
I think we got it. Let's go.
Cool. So what are we doing today? Okay, so let me change. No, I'm trying to get like the good view.
Oh, is it this one?
Or no, I think it's this one. This one. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, that's the one. So before I actually go into what we are building today, I want to say that this idea came from one of our Atlassian Community Champions, and that's Nikola. And one second, not there yet. Or maybe, I'll say it. Okay, no, yes. So this is from one of our community champion, Nikola, and we have a link for this post. I'll just share it here in the chat. Oh, there. Yes. It's a long link, but hopefully you can click on it from here. So Nikola posts a lot of tools, little scripts, most of them are in Python, about tools for admins or tools for Atlassian professionals who are looking to simplify their job, try to automate it. And and I've been checking what Nikola has been posting for a couple of months, and I went through all his posts for maybe 2 months or so, and I selected this one because this one was the one which received the top engagement. If you want to see more of this, give Nikola some work, some love. So we have this agreement where I keep an eye on what he posts, and then if there is anything interesting, I take it and I show it at these events. So and also I think I wanted to say maybe if you're here and you're watching and you saw that link, maybe you want to give Nikola some love on that post. What is this one? So what is this one? Maybe you read this already. I'll just go back to this screenshot. So it's a tool that is going to give us a quick overview of the screens that are used in workflows on specific transitions. So what we will end up building is a view in Jira directly because we are using Forge. We are not just doing an export like the scripts that Nicola is doing, and we will be creating a screen showing this information. So which are going to tell us where screens are used in workflows and in which transitions they're used. And I know you can do it directly in Jira by going to the screens configuration, but then like there is a lot of scrolling, finding, you don't really have a way to filter. So doing it directly in Forge and with this way is going to give you hopefully a better view and an easier way to do your job. And what I also wanted to say that in comparison, like we're doing it with a Python script, which exports like a CSV or prints something on screen, we will also make all of these links. So you'll be able to click on them and go directly to the configuration. And we will also be adding some filtering, so you can quickly look and search for what you're looking for. And we will also build an export to CSV feature because, maybe you still want to export it and do your research and analysis somewhere else. But that's probably going to come like in the second episode of this series, of this app. Like, I don't think we'll be able to build that today, but let's see how we go. And I also wanted to point out that there is another link here that you might want to check out, and I'm going to open it here. I'm going to open it here, and I've pasted it. So this is another script. Nicola posted it just very recently, so after I selected the topic for this presentation, and it is about showing users and groups and space permissions, which I know permissions are another very hot topic for admins. So this might be another topic that we'll present in the future, because I know this can be like a very popular one. So yes, and thank you. I see a couple of comments there. So feels like this is probably like a topic we are interested in, not the one I'm showing right now, but also the previous one. So what we are actually going to build today. So yeah, and hi to the ones who just said hi in the chat as well. Okay, so yes, now it's time also for our little announcement. So I've been talking about Nicola and his work for a couple of minutes now, so I've been in contact with him for some time, and at some point, he was posting Python scripts, but he also started posting about Forge apps. So we will have him come to one of our events, not these ones, the Forge Dev Dance. So in a couple of weeks, so I think that's in exactly 2 weeks for me, and he's going to talk about his experience moving from Python scripts to Forge apps. So yeah, so I'm super excited about hearing directly from him about his experience. So little announcement, and I know it's probably not going to be at the right time, like for you if you're joining live, because it's going to be in my afternoon, early morning in EMEA. But if you want to catch up, yeah, we'll have that event as well. So cool. So let's get started. So let me go to my console, because we'll start with a new app. And what we are going to do today is do a Forge create, just to create our new app. So Forge create.
Starting a fresh new project.
Yes, that is always like, yay, something new. But also like, I don't know, like, okay, let me select this. Okay, Forge app jam. I was thinking, okay, let me do this. So workflow, transitions, screens. Okay, this is the name I'm going to give to the app today. And it's a Jira app, and we are selecting UI kit. And the template we are using is this one. It's a Jira Admin Page. Okay, so we have a link for this as well, for the Jira Admin Page. And while this is loading, let me open it here. Yeah. Maybe this is a bit too small. Okay, so this is a Jira admin page. The idea is that only admins have access to this page. And I kept it in this way because that's where you usually have access to the configuration. Yes, so usually this configuration that we are seeing is restricted to admins, but nothing really stops us from, if we want, making this configuration visible to other users. So you could be using a global page, for example, or maybe a project page to make this information visible to other users. Because I know that sometimes there is an ask to make certain configuration visible, like without any edit permissions to other users who are not admin. And this could be a way for you to create a page in Jira for them to have access to this configuration directly. So yeah, that's good. So that's the Jira admin page that we are using today. And okay, so this finished. So okay, so workflow. So we are browsing into the folder. Okay, so I've hidden that, so you see that too. When I publish this to the repo, I'll add the prefix with the episode number. So when I publish this into the repo, it's going to go to the episode 5 folder. So let's open this. Okay, and I want to open it in my VS Code. Okay, so you might know that I'm a bit like this. So what I want to do today as well is to, why is this not working now? Okay. Okay, so I'm also trying a different way of zooming in today. So hopefully it works. You can let me know if it annoys you that I keep scrolling in and back. But let's see if this is good. So what I wanted to say is, okay, we have our admin page here and we have our key, but I don't like to have the hello world in the key, so I'm removing it. And then I want to change the title just because, so that it looks like a little bit more user friendly. So let's do workflow and screens, just like this. Cool. And let me also make a bit more space here, and let me open my terminal. Cool. So this is big enough, maybe. So let me do a Forge deploy.
If you zoom in just a little bit more, I think you should be okay. Just very slight. There you go.
Okay, so yes, I'm just doing the deploy here. Okay. Okay, so this is done, and let's do Forge install. And we use the same site, Forge App Jam, Atlassian.net. Yes, continue. Yes. Cool. So let's go back here and let's see if we can see our app now. So where do we go and find these apps? So the apps that are installed as Jira Global Pages are available under, you can find them under Marketplace apps. So even if you built them, that's where they will be available. So even if they are custom apps or apps built by you, that's where you'll see them. And here is our app. So this is the one from the template. So all that it's doing right now is saying hello world to us. Hi app, yes, I can see you there. Good. Okay, so this is where we are going to be adding our informations. So, and we will do that by using this other UI component, a UI kit component, which is a dynamic table. I use these tables like a lot. So these are a component to always keep in mind if you want to show some data in this way. So let's open this, but yeah, this is our dynamic table. Plenty of options. We'll be using a few. Let's get started and add this to our app. So let's go back and we will be doing in our front end. Oh, this is cool. So let me get ready and I want to close this. So this is going to be easy. And we said one more. So I think this might be it. Okay, so let's start with our imports. So, and I'm going to copy them for you here. So we have a few, starting with like our dynamic table. For some reasons, when I was doing this, I also decided to use a spinner, and we will see the spinner when loading the table. There is also a loading option directly in the table, but I decided to use a separate one. So we have this one as well. And everything else is for a nice layout formatting. And yeah, section message is also not related to the dynamic table, but we'll see in a second why we are using that. Okay, so let me also, okay, so let's start with the definition of our table. So, and the first thing that we want to do is we want to define the table headers for our dynamic table component. So this is what we are doing now. So what are the headers that we will be defining? So yes, cells, this is the right syntax. And I'll do the first one with you. So the first one that we want to do is our workflow name. So, and the attributes of a cell are key, content, and is a sortable true, which is exactly what we want. So yeah, the beauty of having a dynamic table in Jira in a Forge app is that if you want, you can also sort those. So why not? And then the other headers that we are going to have, let me share them here. Probably doesn't make a lot of sense for me to type them all. So we will be having the transition name, the screen name, which is exactly the same of what we saw in Nicola's post. And then I also added like screen ID and to status, and this is also an ID. Just for reference, maybe troubleshooting, maybe give you something else. And if you want, you can always remove them if you don't need them as an exercise. So these are the headers of our table. Now let's set up what we need to actually fetch the data. So we don't need this. This is just from the template of the app. So I'm going to remove this and add the variables that we are using. So we are going to define a state to store the fetched screen data, and we are going to define it as const screen data and set screen data. Yeah, this looks good. This is going to be an array, so we'll start with an empty array. And then because it's always good to show an information when the data is loading, we'll need variable for that as well. So another state to track the loading status. Good, it's loading, set is loading. Yeah, this is good. Yeah, and then state to track any errors during the data fetching. Yeah, this is exactly what I want. And we'll see in a second how we can use this in a smart way. So let's now add our function, our effect hook to fetch our workflow screen data, and we load this. So we use effect when the component mounts. So I don't think I want to start with what you are suggesting here, my dear Copilot. Let me just type it out. Yes, use effect. Yes, fetch screen data. Okay, let's go with this. But now we probably and let's start with saying, okay, we are running this, so let's set our is loading state to true, and then here let's invoke our backend function to fetch our workflow screen data. Okay, so const result, and then let's do wait, invoke. Now I need to make sure I use the right name here, because this is the name I'm going to use in our resolver. And if I don't use the right one, it's not going to work. So I think what I was planning to use in the resolver is get workflow screens. So that's it. That too. And then let's add some error conditions, just in case. So if error, we want to set the error, yes, which is the other state that we defined up there. And if there are no errors, we want to use the set screen data function, which is part of our hook. And in that one, we want to say result. It's actually going to be screen data because that's the variable that we are going to define. That's how we are going to compose our response. Yeah, and then catch errors, and let's do, yeah, I mean, okay, let's not do that. Let's just do the set error with error dot message, or if there is no error, we can do just a failed to fetch data. And okay, yes. Yeah, and then finally, set is loading to false. Yes, because we are done loading that, and then fetch screen data. Cool. This one looks good. Okay. After doing this, so this is the loading of the data. After doing this, because we have the state variables, so let's also do the spinner part. So we want to render the loading state while we are fetching the data. And let's start with, if is loading, yes, and what are we going to return here? So we'll do a bit of like layouting. Sometimes I call it formatting, but I think layouting is probably the right term. And we'll add a box. So these are all UI kit components. Okay, space. I think I was going for a space 200 with an align in align equals center. And this is the spinner UI kit component that I was mentioning at the top. So it's going to show us a spinner, and then maybe let's also add some text, loading workflow screens. Sounds good. And if you remember, the third state that we had was the error one. And this is kind of like a little trick, but sometimes when you are building your apps, it makes sense to have some errors displayed on screen and not just in the console. So, and this is good for when you are building your app, but also it's a better user experience for your users in case there are any errors. So, and you can do that with a section message, which is another UI component. So let me show you this. So what we are going to do is, render an error message. Yeah, this is good enough as a message. So if error, which is the variable we are using for the state, we want to return a box. I think I want it to be full screen, so I'm going to remove this. And then we will be using a section message, and one of the options of the section message UI component is to have appearance, to have as appearance error. So yes, we'll keep this one, and then we will also give you like a title as error. Yeah, looks good. And then what do we want to have here? I just want the error. I'll just do this. Yes, just show us the error. Section message. Oh, and this one doesn't go there. Cool. Okay, so what else do we need to do? So we defined the rows, and what I want to show you as well is, so this is the response that we will be getting. So each row will have this data. So the workflow name, the workflow ID, the transition name, the transition ID, the screen ID, the to status, and the screen name. So this is the data we will be using in our table. And let me just copy it down below, like after our error. Not that it really matters, just like we are chronologically adding like in the same order, like what I'm showing you in the file. So this is the structure that we are adding and that we are retrieving from our backend. This is how it's going to be. So, and let's transform it.
While you're doing that, do we have a second for a quick question that popped up in chat? Awesome. So someone asked how we are able to make sure that when an app is developed and deployed, how do we limit access and permissions? And we did have a couple people that answered in the chat for us, but that the right way is to do this through permissions and scopes through the manifest. But I just wanted to call that out for anybody who might be a little bit newer to Forge or newer to developing on Atlassian. This is definitely the way to go about limiting access to certain parts of your app.
Yes, in the app. Yeah, so like per scopes, yes, so scopes for sure are one way. So scopes control what the app can access, and you need to define those scopes. At the same time, like what you want to keep in mind is also the difference between as app and as user. So if you are calling all the REST APIs to interact with the app with as user, like the permissions of the user itself are going to be validated before doing any operations. So like I think this question might be related to my comment about displaying this information to users who are not admin. So to do that, what you would need to use is a module, so a Forge module that is visible to them, like for example, a global page. And to actually be able to load the data, you would need to use as app, because otherwise they wouldn't be able to see those information. But after that, they wouldn't be able to change any permissions, change any of the workflows directly, because the Jira permission would kick in unless you built them into the app, if that makes sense. So like if we go maybe back to, let me go back to this. So if we go back to our page here, this one. So if there is a link here, this link, like what I had in mind was to go and open the Jira configuration. So I wasn't planning to build any of the logic on top for being able to edit the workflows directly from this UI. I was going to send the users to the actual workflow configuration. So I think, like, to summarize, yes, manifest, so permissions in the manifest, so scopes, like the difference between as app and as user. So if you run a REST API with as user, only what's available to the user, only what's possible to the user will be respected, but that's also going to limit what the user is going to be presented with. So you wouldn't be able to load the information that we are showing today if to a user who's not an admin by using as user. So some of that is also something that you need to think and consider when you are building the app on how you are structuring the app. I'm not sure if, yeah. Yes, that's like, I think there is like, some considerations, some architecting of the app that you need to keep in mind. And I'll keep this in mind, and like while we keep building, like I'll tell you a couple of things more about this.
And thanks so much to everybody in the chat who chimed in too. Liz and Lena, love it.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. Okay, let me go back to this. And I know you wanted one more. Okay, so this is what we were doing. So we want to transform our fetched data into rows for the dynamic table component. So yeah, so we will define a variable that is called rows, and we will get the screen data, which is what has been returned by our fetch, and we will do something like this. So each row needs a key, so we will just be using the index for that, and our cells, so the values of our cells will be, okay. Oh, I'm always worried about accepting this because I'm like, oh yeah, like it's hard to spot errors when I accept it, but let's see. So content, workflow name, item transition name, yes, screen name, screen ID to status. I think this looks good. So we loaded the rows, the headers. Now we can replace what we have here in our return, which is the final component. This is what's been returned back to the app content. And we will have some text here. So what do we want to show? We want to add some text that says showing okay, so we want this. I'll just accept this. But so we want to show the number of rows that we are presenting. And I'm using rows because this will make more sense when we are filtering. So when we are filtering, the number of rows is going to be less than the total number of data because the filtering is going to be done in the front end. So that's it. Workflow screens with our associated workflow screen with associated screens. So that's good. And now so what we are actually loading here and what we are presenting is our dynamic table, and so with our, yes, thank you, strong, with our headers, rows, and let's, one of the attributes that you have, or property, is the number of rows per page. So it's always good to have a table which is already paginated. And this is the number that we will be using for the pagination. So that's good. So let me save this. Yes. And I'm going to deploy this, and maybe in the meantime, like while I'm going to deploy this, we can say if we think this is going to work right now, or if you think it's not going to work.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, like, do we know? Does anyone know? I know. Did I do everything I was supposed to be doing? It's not that much of a tricky question, I promise. But yeah, so, and I'll start the tunnel as well. Oh, let me also zoom in. This is, okay, so Forge tunnel, so I know when this is done. Yes, cool, this is done. So let's go to our app and reload it. So this is loading, and it didn't work. Yeah, so yes, this was like a part of my tricky question. So why didn't it load? Because I haven't defined in the backend the resolver function yet. But I wanted to still deploy the app right now, so you could see, and let me just zoom in a tiny bit. You could see the error, so the section message of type error that we've defined, and how it looks like. So I think this is a little like, gotcha, maybe, if you want to always have an error section message when you are developing the app. Makes it easier for you, probably, and as well it's good, like in case there is an actual error in the app, to be shown to your users. So that's what I wanted to show. So this was the section message that we added earlier in our app. So, okay, so now we need to also build the resolver. So let's start, and let's start doing that. So this is the, okay. So this is the link that we are going to use. So we are going to use these REST APIs, and we'll need two REST APIs to retrieve the data. So the first one is going to retrieve the list of workflows, and then with the list of workflows and the screens associated in the transitions, will be loading the name of the screens. So these are the two REST APIs that we'll need to use. Let's start by checking the documentation here, just very quickly. So this is the search workflows API that we are going to use. It needs to have this S at the end. So there is another API that is REST API 3 workflow without the S /search, but that's deprecated. So we are going to use the one with the S. And this is the scope that we are going to use. And what I wanted to show you here is that there is an expand, which is the expand that we are going to apply today. So, and that's values transitions. So let me show that. Let me show you how the response looks like. So this is like just me running this. So this is, yeah, just me running this in my in my test site. So with the expand values transitions, and this is the response that we have. Yeah, so, and if I scroll at some point, Or maybe I'll just search for it. Screen. Yeah. So at some point, some of them, whenever there is a screen associated to a transition, we'll have an entry like this. So we'll have transition screen with the parameters and the screen ID. And this is the ID that we will be using for the second API call. So this is our API. And what I also wanted to show you is because we'll need to do some pagination here. So this API response has these attributes at the start. So we have the max results, start at, total. So we have 93 workflows in this site. And what we have in this response is only 50 of them. So we need to iterate over those using the is last. So we'll know if we are at the last page with this property that is being returned and using like the max result as well. So, and the way we can do that is, so if I just show you here, let me go back to my URL. So I can add the parameter start at 50. So if I add this parameter to my request, I'm going to retrieve the next items after the first 50. So if I run this again and go back. So now we can see here that we have the last page. So is last is equal to true. And we started this request at 50. So let's do this and let's go back to our Visual Studio. Yes. So yeah, we actually had like, so the error that I was showing you, let me zoom in. The error that I was showing you in the UI is also in our tunnel, but so it would end up in our logs as well. But by having the section message in the app, like helped us like seeing it directly in the UI. Yeah, so let me go back here. Let's start with the scopes because we are adding an API. So let's do permissions. I know. Permissions and then scopes. Yes. And then the one we need is actually manage Jira configuration. And this is the indentation. Cool. So this is our manifest. So we changed the manifest. So we need to stop the tunnel and restart it. And because this is the first API that we are adding here, we also need to do our npm npm install at Forge API. So this is the first API call that we are doing in this app. So there are no API calls by default in the template. So that's why we need to add this package. And let me open our resolver. So we have our resolver file here. And okay, so let's also import our API, and the comma there, route from the Forge API package. Cool, let me close this one. Okay, I'm thinking like how quickly can I add this? Maybe I can do it in 5 minutes. So let me try. Let me try. Sounds good. So okay, so this is the resolver from our template. So I'm just going to remove it, and let's get started. So we are going to create a new, so we want to fetch all workflows with their transitions and screens. So this is what this call does. So resolver define, get workflow screens. I think this is the same name we used in the front end. And if we didn't, I will get another error message in the UI. So, but I think it's the same. Cool. So let's do our try. And yes, why not? Let's do a console log. Yes, sounds good. So because we need to do the pagination, let's just start with like a little comment to make it clearer. So we want to paginate through all our workflows. And we know that the API returns 50 items by default, so that's good. So what we want to do is we want to loop until is last is true. So which is what I was showing you in the API. So let's create a variable, yes, where we will be storing our workflows and define two variables, one which is the start at and the other one which is the, now we are actually not using max results here. We just go with the default, but we need another variable which is the is last for doing our pagination. So while is last, yes. So we'll do yes. So remember when we were saying earlier, like the difference between as app and as user. So here is your choice. Like if you want to show some data to users who normally don't have access, you could be having here the as app, so that that's going to show this information also to users outside of like their normal permissions. But of course, you need to make sure that everyone agrees with that, that like there are no breaches of any compliance reasons. Maybe there are some workflows that are restricted and you want to filter those out. But this is how, like by using as app, you could be bringing the information of the workflows to some users in a global page. So yes. So this is as app, request Jira. Let me just save it and do a little formatting here. Yeah. And we have, so remember when I told you that there are two APIs, the workflow and the workflows. So Copilot keeps using the workflow one, where the one we want is the workflows one, because the workflow one without the S is deprecated. And here in the attributes, yes, we want so we don't really need the start results because that's like the default one. But what we need is our expand, because if we don't add the expand, we will not be loading the data from the screens. So expand equal values transitions. And do we have an end already? No. Okay, so and I think that's it for this request. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, let's try to do this. So if response is not okay, we want to throw an error, a new error, failed to fetch workflows. I think that's kind of okay. So we have a response status, a response text, but if you've been, I think we mentioned this in like maybe the very first episode. It's always good practice to also show the response text. That's where you usually find most of the more meaningful responses. Okay, and I think like we only have 4 minutes. And I don't think I'll be able to finish this method like without going over time. So I'll probably stop here right now. Uh, yeah, I really wanted to finish this, but yeah, like so for next time. Yeah, for next time, I'll know that it takes me more than 5 minutes to complete for a resolver function, especially if there is pagination. But once you've learned how to do the pagination once, that's pretty much the same for every app. So I'll post the complete method in the repository later on today. Do we want to maybe take a couple of questions? I see there are a couple.
Yeah, where do we want to start? The one that I see the closest from the bottom is when you deploy Jira Read, does the app have access or does the app have read access to all Jira spaces? And the follow-up question right under that is, can we limit scopes to only certain Jira spaces?
So yes, the app has access to all the Jira spaces. There are no limitations there. So scopes by themselves, they don't limit access to the Jira spaces, but there is a function that was mainly created, like I would say, probably for marketplace partners to give admins the ability to restrict apps to certain spaces. Let me just let me see if I can find it. Restrict Forge. Oh, maybe I can search here. Restrict apps to specific spaces. Forge, and I think that was called like policies. Could it? Yes, that's the one. Okay. So there is this option, but so if you are building an app for, I'll share the link as well. If you are, if you are. Yes, so if you are, so this gives you, let me see if there is a screenshot now. If you are building an app for your company, I would add the logic to the app code itself. Like, I think that would be my suggestion.
Perfect. And then it looks like there was some conversation. I love that everybody is helping everybody in the chat today.
I know.
Great. I appreciate it. Awesome.
Yeah.
Do we have a couple of seconds for some announcements?
Yes, I think so. Sorry, we always leave them like last.
Brilliant. No, it's all good. So, if you're interested in any of the things that you've seen today, I definitely think you might be interested in taking the Forge Fundamental Certificate, which is a free 45-minute multiple choice exam that you can take to show all of your Atlassian Forge knowledge. And then once you complete it, you're going to be added to a community of other Forge certified developers as well. So this is one that you can definitely do during a lunch break or something like that. I definitely recommend taking it. And then if you are not already part of our community, one, welcome. We are so happy to have you here. But also, we would love for you to join the community. Oh, that is all the way up in the top corner right there. I didn't know that it was going to be all the way up there. But you can scan that QR code and find different Atlassian communities that are going to suit you, maybe based on your location or your different interests. So we would love to have you and see you in our community as well.
Yeah,
That's all the
exactly.
announcements.
Yeah. Yes, I think that's okay. Yeah, that's it. Thank you for joining as always, and I'll see you soon with the next part of this, which is probably going to
Yes.
be in a couple of weeks, but you know this
Yeah.
already.
We'll definitely figure it out. We have to get it together because team is coming up. Throw in the chat if you're going to be coming to team. I know that that's going to throw off some schedules because it's going to be a little bit of a busier time.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you take care. Yeah.
Thank
Sorry, I'm still
you.
reading the chat and I'm like, oh, like we should keep going. But
Yeah.
yeah, we'll get back to this like in a couple of weeks and we'll have more time to chat.
Yes, absolutely. Perfect. Well, thank you all so much for being with us here today. We really enjoyed it. Thank you, Caterina, for your wonderful presentation. And I think we will see you all next time. I hope you have an amazing day, an amazing evening, an amazing whatever, wherever you are. We will see y'all next time.
See ya. Bye bye.